Hey, HTDA, and today I'm going to do exactly what many of you have asked for. I'm going to do a new run on the highest difficulty, showing a lot of the nitty-gritty details instead of summarized versions, and this time we're taking things all the way to the end. Now, I do want to start over so I can actually use all the lessons learned in what will hopefully be a very organized and optimized playthrough, where we kill millions of angry robots. Last time around I actually only got 2 bases and 2 hives in the starting system, so I'm actually just making sure you can all see that I'm setting the settings correct this time around. 1200 metadata output multiplier, so that's the only way to get that, as far as I know, is putting everything to the max. And we are going to apply that. We're going to start in this random system, the Chi? I'm not even sure how you pronounce this system anyway, so if you want to follow me along on this playthrough, you can. And hopefully we'll actually get those 3 bases to start with. That seems like a weird thing to ask for, but yeah, that seems to be the general highest difficulty that we can get. Okay, first things first, as always, let's fix the looks on our Icarus. There we go, that looks a lot better, and I actually renamed the planet as well to the planet called after Stefan Pape, a new member of the channel, so thank you for supporting this, Stefan, if you are listening to this or watching this. And yeah, we are all good to go. Now the first thing I'm actually going to do is not actually take care of the platform. I'm actually going to look around to see if we got the 3 bases. They're actually nicely put in a row. Not sure if that's default or not, but that's going to make things more convenient if we can kind of maybe build something along this line. But the reason that I want to look around is that we need to find a good place for our starting facility. Now, let's see, we have a lot of stone and coal and things like that over here. We have a lot of iron here. However, there doesn't seem to be any copper whatsoever over here. So let's see, we do have copper over here, but nothing else here. Oh, this is going to turn out really bad. I have a feeling about this. Or, well, maybe. Actually, this area isn't all that bad. It has copper and iron over there. It's actually pretty close by as well. We have stone, so that makes things convenient. We have some coal. We have more copper actually in this direction, and that is in the same direction as our starting seed. We have iron a little bit too close to the enemy base over here. So the only problem I have with this location is that we only have, well, actually no, we have 2 iron veins over here. So we have a lot of copper, a lot of iron. Yeah, yeah. So basically that seems to be a good way to go. So what we're actually going to do is not settle here, but we're going to settle as close, well, not too close to the enemy base, but a lot closer to the base, and get things going from there. So we can maybe set up a defensive line. Let's see, if they're gonna come from my base, we can actually set the defense up maybe here. That should work, right? Or maybe over here, like in between the stone and take care of this copper vein. And then have the ammunition being made over here. And then we can kind of make this area behind here our main base initially, at least. And then maybe at some point we'll move up front. But let's take one thing at a time. Okay, so let's talk about science for a moment, because I think it's actually something that in every mode is something you really need to optimize, but especially, of course, on the hardest difficulty. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to research all the basic stuff first, so getting sure that we have the logistics, the smelters, the assemblers, and then the blue science. Nothing strange at that point. Then we're going to go straight for the weapon system, so we can actually defend ourselves. And once we have that going, I actually want to unlock the engines as well as the battlefield analysis base. Now, that may be a little bit weird, because we won't necessarily be able to build these because we don't have the steel or the components. But if I'm not mistaken, but I haven't actually tested this, is as soon as you unlock this, you actually get some of these drops from the Dark Fog as well. And basically I'm looking for the components specifically. Everything else I can make on the planet. Technically I can make the components as well, but you need a lot of the stone production for that and stuff like that, so that's not really something we want to do. So by unlocking this, I'm hoping we will actually see those things start dropping, so we can get the battlefield analysis bases up and running as soon as possible. Now, in order to help that, the things I'm going to go straight forward after that is probably steel, so I can also build our windmills where we want. And then after that, depending on whether or not we're actually seeing some of the drops, we might just go to unlock the components themselves. But I'm pretty sure last time around I actually got the components to drop before I actually researched this. So assuming that is the case, We're going to go for either the smelting purification, probably this, so we can also get these things to drop. And then we're going to go for everything that's related to red science, basically work our way through here to get that going as well. Now, the other thing I want to try out is actually try to not build anything for a very long time, but basically just start researching and crafting whatever we need in order to research all of that stuff, get some of the buildings already pre-produced as well, and just manually mining stuff along the way. We will be getting a little bit of threat, as you can see, but the only threat we're getting is actually the result of Icarus itself using energy, but other than that, there's literally nothing using energy. And of course, Icarus is a lot more efficient, although not necessarily a lot faster than the actual buildings are. So this is just a way to kind of get ahead before we get attacked by the planetary bases the first time around. Now, as you can see, I queued up a lot of stuff. So there's some assemblers, some smelters in there, some belts, some power poles. There will also be a couple of turrets in there. So basically I can just kind of build my entire factory from the get-go and not have to worry about meeting the deadline, because as you can see, well, we're only about at 30% threat and I haven't actually built any buildings yet, but I do have everything pre-produced, so I can just slap it down, get it going, and, well, take it from there. Now, do you need to do this? Probably not, honestly. But it's a very convenient, low-risk, low-stress way of approaching the very early game of a hard mode run. Okay, so I think half an hour of farming stuff manually and just preparations for all of this stuff is maybe a little bit overkill. Let's actually build some ammunition while we're talking about preparations. But yeah, I'm thinking about setting up the initial turrets over here, which should be the direction of the planetary bases. Yep, it is. And I'm not entirely sure where to put the actual turrets, honestly, because it feels like they're going to come from this direction. But if I've learned anything from the previous run, then the poles acted really weird, so they might actually go kind of over the poles and attack me from above. And honestly, they might be doing both of that, which is really annoying. Yes, I know I can build mining machines. Yeah. Okay, I'll build a few mining machines. So let's see. Let's say we built 2 mining machines. There we go. Let's make a little road. Now, the reason I want 2 mining machines is this will be enough to supply 6 smelters to make ammunition. Is that overkill? Probably, but I'm gonna go for that anyway, because now I can make 2 assemblers making ammunition. Basically, I want to set up things as much as possible in a way that I'd never have to worry. Well, not never have to worry about it again, at least not have to worry about it for a significant amount of time. Now, let's see, I have 9 of these, so I could make a cute little block of 3x3. However, I'm actually going to go for a block of 5x4, I should say. Mostly because it's a little bit more spread out, so I can make sure that these things are actually going to be in the range of where I need them to go. Now, let's do that like this. And this should all do the trick. Now, I'm intentionally not powering it up just yet, for the very simple reason this allows me to set everything like the recipes and things like that, and the sorters. I'm actually going to have too few sorters. That's a little annoying. Let's make a few of those. And then start working on some more ammunition. That sounds like a good idea. And if you don't have any resources left, let's make some door sites. Okay. Inserters. There we go. One over here, one over here, one over here, and one over there. And then you're going to be making ammunition. Like this. We can also extend this a little further. We actually need this belt more out as well. Lack of item. I need more of those. I need more of those. For all my planning, I didn't actually do enough of that. Apparently, I suck. But anyway, that should work. And then this should work as well. Let's make sure we have all the power set up. And the reason I'm not actually powering anything up just yet is because if you do it like this, you can make sure that you don't have those waves coming in while you're still setting up your defenses. So this is going to look a little bit ugly, but this should make sure everything else is now in the range of the power, right? Question. Yep, looks good. Okay, so now we can actually power this up by putting some of these in the back. Let's see if we can make this a little tighter. There we go. Like so. Now we have power up, so we should be seeing the enemy waves coming in pretty soon. And yeah, this is racking up really, really fast now. Let's actually make sure these turrets are going to be able to do anything. We actually don't really have enough power, so that's interesting. Let's build a couple of those. Actually, let's not do it like this. Let's make sure we build them one by one, so we can actually place them down as they come. And I am going to put this on the belt, so my turrets in the front will actually be able to do something, because right now they're not doing much. We also have some ammunition left over. Am I dying? I am taking some damage, but how about you shoot at the turrets instead? Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Shoot at the turrets. I am sort of in danger here. This was more threatening than I thought it would be. However, we do have some more power towers now. Hello? Feel free to build them. That's fine. Let's build them in this direction, because that is where we want our base to go. Ah, there we go. These ones are actually coming across the pole, which is really, really annoying. These ones are kind of coming in from over there. It's so random how distances work, because there's no reason they should be coming over the pole if you just look at like the planet. So this is just purely the distance calculation that the game uses in order to determine where things are coming from. I'm also taking quite a bit of damage over here. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I do not want to die. I do not want to die. Okay, close enough. Let's make sure we have more power coming up still, so that my defenses become a little bit more efficient. And those were the first 3 waves. Okay, so far so good. So now this should take care of itself mostly. And that means I can move a little bit to the back over here. We can probably stop working on that ammunition now. And start working on some more facilities over here in the back to get some basic production up and running. Okay, so what we need to do is set up a couple of miners, of course, just the basics that we're always doing. One over here for the iron, maybe one over here for some more copper. Can I please get 6 within the radius? There we go. I stole a couple of these power turbines from over there, so just we can make sure we get this going. Let's make sure we make some more of these turbines while we're at it. There we go. And then of course what I'm going to do is just set up some simple production lines with a little bit of everything that I don't think you necessarily need to watch, so let me just skip ahead a little bit. Okay, so I set some basic stuff up, nothing too special. It's barely up and running, but so far so good. This will just help us make some buildings more efficiently. But I do actually need to run back here in order to help my base defend itself. Not necessarily because it actually needs my help shooting or anything like that, but it does need my help in terms of repairing these buildings, because yeah, as you can see, we're actually taking quite a bit of damage. Nothing too major, nothing we can't handle, especially since we have all the additional firepower now. But I do need to make sure I keep repairing my buildings. Now, we can hover up some of these drops. So far, nothing special, just some copper, things like that. Let's zoom out, that makes that a lot easier. You'll get some energy shards, which is convenient, so we can actually throw these into our mech itself. We don't need to worry too much about power. And I do actually need to set up a collection box for this as well. We do want some more power in order to make sure that we're not wasting any of this production, because as you can see, this is now just sitting here not doing anything. This is a really inefficient way of doing this, actually. Yeah, can't stand that. Let's do it like this. Looks cool, but We're about optimizing things here, not but necessarily about making it look cool. Let's just do it like this so that any like pile-ups over here will go straight into the collection box and it can go straight out as soon as we need it. Now we're going to get 2 more waves. They will look pretty much the same, I think, as the previous one. So I'm not going to have you sit through that, but I definitely need to make sure I stay here in order to make sure nothing gets destroyed. Okay, so having survived those first few waves, I actually want to reposition my turrets. The turrets themselves were working really well, so there's no problem with that whatsoever. But since they're coming in a little bit further from the north than I was expecting, what I actually think that I am going to do, well, I know I'm going to do this, is set up a block. We have 12 of these, so let's make a block like this. A little bit more centralized. And blocky defenses tend to work pretty well in terms of actual efficiency. Something like this. I'm not entirely sure this is going to make a huge difference, but I actually think it will be a little bit more efficient. So let's see if this actually covers everything. In terms of power, yes it does. And hopefully this will make the entire setup a little less reliant on, well, a little bit more set up to get both the waves that are coming in from the side as well as the waves that are coming in through the pole. And man, I hate the slow building speed at the initial part of the game. You can actually build these little things as themselves as well now. It does speed things up quite a bit. Why is this not getting built? I can't, for some reason I can't actually click on that. It's probably just my mouse skills. I don't know. This tree is actually getting in the way of me as well. There we go. Look. Look, Mom. I can build stuff myself. Okay, now we have the ammunition coming in. We're already gearing up for the next few waves, but that shouldn't be a problem with the amount of ammunition that we're getting now. Actually have quite a bit of my inventory as well, so let's just throw it in. Let's take 1 stack for ourselves. Just so we can shoot at stuff. And then let's get going in making some more basics so we can set up our initial blue science production so we can start automating this stuff. So here we have a quickly built facility that I do want to expand with maybe another miner for iron over here, something like this. And then we can make a little belt with the emphasis on a little because apparently I am pretty much out of everything at the moment. So let's make a couple more of those. Let's make some more inserter as well. Let's collect some of all of these resources and make sure we're starting to kind of mass produce everything we need. Now I do want to keep an eye on the threat because I have a feeling we're going to need some more turrets as well, or at least we need to be there to defend them. So let me quickly build up a couple of things and then skip to the next waves to see if we can actually defend against that. So it turned out the defense against those waves wasn't actually too bad. Something went wrong with the recording and I couldn't actually reproduce it. So this is the end result. Just the turrets that we already have, but I did expand the defense line a little bit to the side because it felt like the dark fog was coming in really weird angles. There was actually one wave that came in partially over here, and then partially over here. How that works, I have no idea. It just looked very random, very spread out in terms of the angle that they were attacking. And this was a single wave, by the way, so it wasn't from the different stations. It was all from the same station. So yeah, I am just going to double up a little bit of my defenses here and here. There were actually some waves trying to go around here as well, that they're coming from this closest base, so they were kind of just going straight for here. But then some of the units were going kind of in an angle like this. Now there's nothing here, so again, I have no idea how that works. It's really frustrating because on the lower difficulty you just run after them and take care of it yourself. But you can't really do that on the hard mode because they will just tear you to pieces most of the time. At least if they're too far away from your turrets and you can't easily get them back to that. So what I'm going to do is double up on the defenses over here, because this is where most of the units were coming. And then at some point we actually might want to expand down a little bit. So we basically have this entire corner of defense going on, so we don't run into some issue with our base suddenly being attacked from the wrong side. Okay, nothing special here, just doubling up a little bit on the turrets over here, putting some in the corners, and that should do the trick. Now let's actually reorganize our setup over here as well. I want to have 2 assemblers, probably one over here-ish and then one over here-ish, that are also going to draw in copper. Let's see. We can get this copper line to move the other way. Like this. Just making sure everything is a little neat and organized. At this point, I think we can do that. Apparently, I need to put this out a little further to the side. And there we go. So we can have the 3 copper thingies over here. It's not exactly aligned with everything else, but there's a limit to what we can do in hard mode. Something like this. Then we should be able to get in the other belt like this. And then this belt can go like so. And then all we need to do is put in a couple of these assemblers, so we can start making some circuit boards as well as magnetic rings. So we actually do have all the basics that we need in order to make pretty much anything in the game at this point. Why can't I connect these? There we go. You take it from here, you take it from over here. Let's make sure you're actually producing something. You're not getting any resources because you're not actually putting it on the belt over here. Let's do that like so. And that means that if we connect you, and if we connect you, and if we actually delete that belt, and we connect this up as well, then we can set you to circuit boards, and we can set you to coils. And that looks just beautiful. And then let's see what is happening with our defenses over here. Yeah, they did take care of themselves, so that is working like intended. There is a lot of resources there underground now, so let's go and pick those up. And let's make sure we actually defend our base, because yeah, we are definitely going to have to do that now. There's a lot of resources coming in, not entirely sure what we're getting. Let's zoom out. Glass, circuit board, magnets, engines. We are getting engines, but still no higher difficulty things like... we actually did lose a couple of these turrets, so let's repair those. There we go. And slow repairs are really annoying, but we'll just have to deal with it until we actually get those battlefield analysis bases up and running. Now actually the next wave, and I'll show you here, like I said, it's coming in at a really weird angle. This is all the same wave, but these units are going to go straight for an area over here. Well, these units, I'm not entirely sure where they're going, but they will arrive at the base defense over here. Now, if they go any further down to the side, they will actually run past my turrets straight into my facility over here. And that's definitely not something we want to see. So, yeah, that's something to take into account. Let's see, the defense like this, as long as I'm actually present, is really easy and straightforward. I can actually repair things as they get damaged. So that is really nice and efficient. Do I actually have some spare turrets? Yes, I do. So we might as well just add a few to the mix over here, just to extend the defensive line a little further. Let's make sure it's actually connected to the ones we already have though. We can build these turrets very close together on this particular part of the planet, so might as well do that. And then let's see where the next wave is coming from in a moment. Okay, so this wave is coming in from a very straightforward angle. It's one of the closer bases as well. So this is really predictable and really how we will like it. Yeah, and it seems that as long as I'm here to kind of make sure things get repaired before they get any real damage, actually taking care... Oh, there we go. These units are kind of veering off to the side, which is making me slightly nervous, but so far so good. There's really no issue in keeping ourselves alive. No special resources just yet, but I am now producing a fair amount of blue science in order to unlock that battlefield analysis base, as well as, well, pretty much anything else we want, because the blue science is of course really easy to make as long as you actually have some circuit boards and coils being automated for you. Now obviously I don't want to do this by hand for too long, so let's start placing down a couple of matrix labs as well. And there we go, the matrix lab is now up and running, so we can automate the blue science production, and that means I can start focusing on different things. Now I actually don't necessarily want these inserters. What I do want is a whole lot more of these power turbines, because as you can see, I'm kind of struggling with power. Not struggling, but well, my turns won't be shooting very efficiently if they don't actually have power. We don't want to make these gears by hand, because I do actually have gears in stock over here. There we go. Let's take up a few of those stacks. And then make some more defense turrets. How are we doing on belts? We probably need some more belts as well. There we go. Have all of that in production. And then expand our defenses a little bit. Okie dokie, so I expanded both the side over here a little bit with some more turrets and the side over here. Now, honestly, and before you start typing in the comments and stuff like that, I'm realizing that this is not super efficient in terms of actual defense. You want kind of a block, a square block of turrets ideally, because that's like maximizing the firepower. The problem is I can't do that, because as you could have seen in the previous waves, and especially in the last wave that I didn't actually show because there wasn't too much going on, but some units were actually really coming in from the side, now probably drawn by these wind turbines. I'm not entirely sure why. And we keep getting units coming in through the poles as well. So there's a reason I'm expanding this, because they seem to actually be going for these miners over here. Why? Again, I have no idea, because there's no way these miners are closer, especially not from this direction, than these turrets and smelters and stuff like that over here. But nonetheless, the units are going for them, so I kind of have to spread out my defenses for now. We're going to solve that probably in the next episode. I just wanted to point that out, that you kind of have to work with what you're getting, and that can be forcing you into some unoptimized types of defense early on. Now, on a different note, thanks to having the blue signs automated, I am actually going through my whole resource tree pretty... well, not fast, but at least at a decent speed, as you can see. It's slowly ticking away. We've researched most of the stuff we need in order to progress now. And look, we have more waves coming in, so I can actually show you. Like, okay, see this over here? These guys are actually going in this direction, so they will come into this part of the defense, while the next wave is probably going to come from a completely different direction. Okay, so case in point, you can see this part of the wave is coming into the same direction as the previous one. Well, these guys, I have no idea what they're doing, but they're going straight over the pole in a very spread out. I mean, there's even some units over there. I mean, I'm going to have to pick those off manually. I mean, it's not going to be a problem, but I have no idea why these waves are spreading out so extremely like they're doing over here. And as you can see, just a few of these units getting behind your defenses, even if you can easily pick them off yourself, are still quite a bit of a problem, because as you can see, they destroyed all my miners, they destroyed my production. You can actually easily rebuild it, so from that perspective, it's not the end of the world. Let's build some miners first. Well, maybe not 10, maybe a couple of them is enough, considering I only lost a couple. But yeah, you can see that for some reason, there's no way these miners should be getting attacked, because obviously they're closer than these buildings over here. But nonetheless, the units are just basically going around my defenses. Now, you could argue that maybe from this side of the map they're closer. Pretty sure they're not, but still. But if that was the case, they should be attacking from this side. So, again, I have no idea what's going on here, but it is really, really, really annoying. However, not all is lost, because while rebuilding this took me a little bit of time, but not too much, and now everything is back in production. We do have a new wave coming up very soon, but I want to start working on my defense, which will now be a lot easier, because I actually got in some steel and components, as you can see. So now I can actually build one of these nice little battlefield analysis bases, and the first one is going to go right here in this corner, where we're getting most of the attacks. Of course, I do need to make sure it's actually powered, or it won't do anything. But now this is going to massively help me actually repair my base. And I want to build a second one as soon as I can, in order to make sure that they can actually repair each other as well. And now this should help a lot with actually automating our defenses and making sure we don't die in the process. Let's see if that is actually the case. As you can see, all these buildings are actively getting repaired. Maybe the outer ones are a little bit far away, but all in all, it should still be working. I might lose this one turret. No, I think it's actually going to survive as well. There we go, a completely automated defense. I could have not been here and it would still have survived. Okay, so I'm not thrilled about this part of the defense line, so I'm actually going to take that out. Get one of these bases in here, maybe something like this. Can we build another one? No, we can't, unless I have some steel in here. We'll have to make do with what we have. And then hopefully something like this should work. And kind of make this a bit more centralized defense. Can we make that work? Yes, that does work quite nicely. That is awesome. Now what am I going to do with this belt? Because we actually have to connect everything else up. Oh, we're actually out of belts. No. No, let's make some more belts. There we go. Let's make sure this is powered up, because this is probably where the next attack is coming in anyway. And then this one should probably be a little bit closer to here. And then we have everything a little bit more centralized in terms of defense. This is just meant to actually pick up some of the stragglers that we might see. And then this is going to be the core of our defense. I actually want to take out this little ocean over here and kind of make this a more centralized block. Let's see if this works like intended. It's actually a pretty big concentrated wave. Let's manually rebuild some of that stuff as well. Ow, ow, ow. Stop shooting at me. Stop shooting at me. Am I going to die here? It's not far off. I actually need some power for myself. But yeah, that wasn't perfect. Far from it, actually. We do need to set up some additional power as well. But I do think this is definitely the way forward in order to make sure that we make our defense a little bit more efficient than it was initially, mostly because we have the people coming in from a very weird angle to begin with. We also need to make sure that... What is over there? Oh, there was actually already a line out there. One thing I really like, by the way, is that the Dark Fog seems to be mostly ignoring the belts. And the reason I just there is to get this belt in here somehow. Why is this not working? Again, there's a little belt piece over there. Something like this. Yeah, we definitely need to clean this up at some point, but for now, we have another wave coming in, so I can't really afford to rebuild this. Now, this is again going to be a very spread out wave. This is not necessarily a very bad thing, because once they're spread out, they're really easy to take out as well. But again, you can see that we definitely need this weird wonky side defense over here, because again, they're coming across the pole in a very strange and weird direction. So once I get some more turrets going, I probably want to extend this line as well, so let's just do that right now. I think the battlefield bases are having a pretty decent time actually defending that. So let's just take this out. We're going to need one of those battlefield bases here as well, for sure. Like that. And add some belts in there as well, and... Can't I do that? I really hate how these tiny little belts get stuck there, and then you have to remove them and replace them. But, yeah, there's worse problems to have when you're playing hard mode, I guess. So, yeah. Okay, so we survived the first hour, 1.5 hour of the game, although the first half hour was just me farming stuff. It seems like the defense is actually doing its job. We have quite a few of these analysis bases up to make sure that we can start repairing stuff. I have queued up the auto reconstruction as well, so now we can just start, as soon as at least we research that, we can just dump the turrets in here and have the base repair and rebuild itself where that is needed. That is definitely going to be needed, because I think we're going to lose a couple of turrets here and there with these larger attacks that come from a diagonal angle, so it's really hard to defend against. Without building like a very weird defense across the line here. But as you can see, it's not too bad. We only lose a couple of turrets here and there. And what else? Well, we set up all these blue science production. In the next one, I want to make sure that we organize our defense a little bit more streamlined. Make it look a bit better. I also have the foundations unlocked now, so we can actually do that. They should also be dropping, I think. Not entirely sure if that's... Yeah, it's already happening, so that's really nice. We can actually do that as well. And then, of course, in the next episode, I want to start working on the red signs and get that up and running as quickly as possible, because then we're going to unlock a couple of things that will actually make streamlining the defenses a little easier. And I'm going to use a couple of things that I think a lot of people are overlooking, so make sure you tune in for that. If you're still here, you're awesome, and I do hope to catch you in the next one.